How you doing?
Good. How you doing, man?
Um, I'm good. This is the episode before this. You had a guest, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. How did that go?
It went well. It was our most depressing episode by far. We talked about the end of the world and how AI is going to kill us all, take all our jobs and all that fun stuff. But he did a great Bill Fowler impersonation. So
Yeah, I heard. I need to go back and watch it. Um, uh, Joseph is an amazing dude. He's a lot of fun. I've known him from previous lives. Get to know him?
through Reach Canada, shout out Reach Canada 2025. Woo. Anyways,
Well,
he was one of our mentors. He taught me how to go on stage and pitch my product. Um, he failed miserably, obviously, because I suck at pitching, but he was there
no,
teaching me.
I disagree. I think you're very good. But yeah, anyway, he's a lot of fun and charismatic and just a great all around guy. So I'm glad he was able to fill in. I was uh I love saying this because it sounds super bougie. I was out of the country. Um
La-ti-da.
Went to Dublin for St. Patrick's Day, which I did not mean to do. Just there was a window of time and I had found flights. And so Megan and I went and it was awesome. And then I was like, oh my God, I realized we're going to be there during St. Patrick's Day. So I saw my friend Rob Hoban, CEO of Offer, hung out with him. He's a Dubliner. And yeah, being in that environment with someone who's from there is unbeatable. So thanks for covering the bases. I'm glad it was good. And I'm also glad it was depressing because it makes me feel that I bring some value here, optimism or something.
You bring the light. Was that
Thanks.
no? That sounds like too much. You bring a little bit of joy. Let's go with that.
I love it. Thanks. I appreciate that. And thanks for Joseph for covering. We have him on again when he's shilling some product we can potentially help him out with. Hey, I'm super excited about this because I've had a full 2 weeks, maybe a little longer than that, to think about this episode, and think about a topic that I'm so excited to bring to you. A quick reset for those who are maybe just tuning in for the first time. Um, Curtis Scalo, who is the CEO at VoiceFlip, um, a creator of artificial intelligence, small language model, built it yourself, 2018, so on and so forth. A veteran in the software community, new-ish to the real estate space, but kind of kicking ass in the real estate space. Congrats to you.
Thank you.
So you play the role as creator in this situation. I play the role as industry veteran and AI novice. So you AI veteran, industry novice, I industry veteran, AI novice. And so I'm kind of the user, you're the creator, and we come together for
Yeah. What are your
hijinks.
numbers for the industry? 28 years.
26 years.
26 years.
Yeah. I joined this company called Solid Earth, which my brother Matt Fowler, CEO of Dorify, started. I joined in November of 2000. I did my first training class in Chattanooga, Tennessee on a dial up, and it was an IBM laptop that was as big as your desk. Remember those days. I'm a small man, and I think I was destined to be a little larger, but I carried around an 18-pound laptop for 10 years. And so it stunted my growth. That's what I'm blaming it on.
Mm.
Anyway, here we go. How was your last 2.5 weeks been?
It was great. It was great. We did a podcast and then did a bunch of work. The usual. I guess it's not been. Yeah.
Yeah. And we're coming up on RESO. We have I'm just pulling facts and figures out of the air, but we're coming up on RESO, which is going to be a lot of fun. A kind of a monumental conference for everybody. Lots going on in the industry. You looking forward to that?
I am. I think we are both speaking at RESO on different topics. If I'm not mistaken. I am speaking about AI and how the MLS could be an attack surface against AI agents. And you are speaking on data.
Data licensing, which is as sexy as it sounds. But
It's super important. Well,
you say the title of your talk at RESO is MLS on attack vector, I think.
it can be an attack vector. So the MLS is an open system theory, right? So anyone can go and add data to it. But with large language models and AI agents, the content on your website isn't just content anymore. It's actually like programming instructions, because the way LLMs read stuff, they read it and they take action on it. So if someone adds something in there that's malicious, an LLM or an agent, so someone running OpenClaw, whatever, would run on that and could possibly hack them. But there's also the downstream effects too, where they can hack other vendors and that type of thing through an MLS. So basically, they're AI, but still, we'll get
That
into that,
sounds
Riso.
particularly, I mean, to a room full of people who are looking at AI as, but in the way that like voice flip is, they're looking at it as a product opportunity. Like we are going to either adopt this or not adopt this. We are going to partner with some company to bring artificial intelligence into our ecosystem. But you're talking about something completely different. You're talking about the malicious use or the like um, breaking and entering of an MLS and a model then kind of taking its um, a chunk out of that environment. Am I correct with that?
Yeah, essentially, yeah. And it's just a fun thought exercise for everyone in the room because thinking about potential attack vectors and hacks is always like super fun for nerds. So
You know, an interesting tidbit. I know of at least two ransomware attacks that have taken place in our industry that have not been widely publicized. Like these MLS, a lot of MLSs have insurance for stuff like this, and I know two that have happened, and we don't talk about it because it's really scary. It's a very scary thing. But you're touching on that, which is great. I think it's a new and fresh, terrifying way to look at the world, which I think you're really good at.
thank you.
um, but hey,
Mhm.
I want to open with little news and notes from outside of our industry, but something that is particularly, I think, important. I'm not seeing a ton of coverage on it currently in the news, but Sora has been sunsetted, shuttered, shut down. And I read this morning that this is Sora, which was I'm going to characterize this as like kind of a AI TikTok kind of a platform, social media from Sam Altman and OpenAI that just kind of didn't go. We talked about this like 3 episodes ago, and I read that Sora was costing $1 million a day to support. Which, if you said Sora costs $365 million a year to manage, I would not be surprised by that. But when you put it in terms of $1 million a day, dude, that's a lot of money. What is your take? What is your response?
I feel like, yeah, we had talked about that earlier, like the cost of running all these queries and stuff like that. And it's not efficient yet. I think video generation is, you know, definitely probably the most inefficient one. And Sora was an old model. I would imagine they're going to come out with a newer model that's a much more efficient, blah, blah, blah. Maybe it won't be as good, but who knows? But for video, I don't know. It's good for real artists, bad for wannabe artists like myself, I think. I have no idea. I don't know.
You
Good, bad.
mentioned
I don't know.
there's two things that I wanted to cover, and I need your take on. Number one, it was OpenAI's attempt to provide value. We talked about this. There's like so much money, and I think you used the term artificial intelligence investment propping up the economy, and like a lot of the tech sector, which used to be kind of a broad spectrum endeavor. Investing into tech stocks meant a lot of different things. It meant Oracle. It meant Microsoft. It meant Apple. It meant there's companies that were pushing disparate products into different industries and so forth. And now a lot of that is being channeled into AI. And so OpenAI has this like groundswell of investment, and the investment community is used to a cadence that is, return on a certain, timeline.
Right.
And so here comes Sora, which is something they can point to. And it was costing $1 million a day to create. And I think that they were looking for revenue. I think they're looking for return on the investment that's being shifted toward them. Like, is that a valid, do you see that angle as a valid effort on OpenAI's part?
I think so. I mean, I guess had they got it right, there probably would have been a ton of money. Can you imagine something like Sora using to generate ads, like, or even the content you build with Sora if it had like little ads built into it? I'm sure there's a way to make money on it. I'm sure the next models will probably capitalize on that and they'll be more efficient. Um, but it's one of these things. Right now, they're just burning a ton of money so that they can get the knowledge, so that they become more efficient, so that they can eventually make money. Uh, I think Sora is probably their first foray into video, I should say. And I think next few models will probably be much better, and they'll probably hopefully find a way to make money. I mean, with GPT, they're trying to do ads in the free version, and I think the lowest tier paid version, is that going to cover their costs? Who knows? But I think they need to find some revenue model, or else they'll be shut down very quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in some ways, there's a little bit of Schadenfreude with, watching Sam Altman kind of squirm and try to figure out a way to be profitable. But then, I mean, I do use ChatGPT, pretty much all day, every day. I don't want this whole system to fail per se, but it is interesting to watch even the people that we look to as the smartest and brightest and best and the luminaries, the next Bill Gates, the next Sergey Brin in our lives, try to kind of figure this out on the fly. It's a little bit disconcerting to watch that, and that they really don't have a master plan here. Um, but Microsoft did the Zune, right? That was their like podcast.
Amazing.
I mean, their Apple iPod approach. You had one, I
I had
assume.
one, 250 gigs of storage on a big ass hard drive that I could play music on the go and like transfer videos to people and stuff. It was a fantastic device. But typical Microsoft, they suck at marketing. So never went anywhere.
Well, and the second aspect of Sora being shuttered is $1 million a day. How much of that is on infrastructure? How much of that is in, a gigantic warehouse that's blowing and going electricity and the kinds of things that you have mentioned in the past that I think the average consumer doesn't see is that there is a lot of environmental impact or, uh, utility grid impact on setting up a platform that is going to have this much computing power available immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, the environmental impact is something. Even the quality of life impact for like local residents near a data center. They always tend to be out of the way in poor neighborhoods, poor rural areas, because they make so much fucking noise to begin with. I don't know if you've seen the videos out there on Reddit and stuff, where a resident will go out and just like record outside and what it sounds like, and it's insane. um,
Just it sounds like a giant CPU fan running all the time.
all the time. It would drive you absolutely nuts. But luckily, poor people don't have the means to complain. Ha ha.
Right. Right. Well, anyway, I wanted to get the take on that because we spent a whole episode on Sora essentially and what that means for OpenAI. And you said something that I still think about which is a segue into what I wanted to bring as our main topic today, is I do a lot of my conversational work with ChatGPT. And I had just discovered, thanks to my brother, in the last episode we did before I took my little hiatus was with him, and he had built his own really intricate dashboard for all of the stuff that he does on a daily basis um, with Claude. So, I can't let him have all that fun. So I went to Claude and started just toying around with it, which is where I wanted to go next. But you said something super interesting early on in our podcasting experience, which was we're headed to an environment where the Magnificent Seven, the seven companies that are kind of like pushing AI globally, are good at specific things. So, ChatGPT's versions have turned out to be really good with the conversational kind of aspect. They're really not good with coding necessarily, or
Right.
not as good as Claude. So now Claude has become known as that. And you were like, it's kind of like Netflix versus, Hulu versus, Amazon Prime and so forth. Consumers are now looking at value based on the models, and there's no one model that can do everything. We're still there, I would assume.
We are, and I think that gap is even getting bigger and bigger. Like if you look at the video models, the Seedance version 2 by ByteDance, famous owners of TikTok, they're amazing video generation, large language model. And from what I understand, costs less to run per day than Sora, right? And it's fantastic. But their other models kind of suck, you know. ChatGPT, great at chatting. Claude, great at coding, so forth, so on and so forth. Uh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I really didn't have any experience with Claude. And when Matt was telling me, how he did this, and he, paraphrased or every one of his explanations on what he was doing with, this is really dangerous in my hands. Like when people like me have access to, vibe code, sitting down at a language model and just saying, "Hey, I want to build an app and I want it to do this and I want to do this." And then Claude beep, boop, 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 boop. And then you have a couple hundred lines of code built in a working model over here in a side window in this within the same. He's like, "This is dangerous. Like I am dangerous. Therefore now Bill is dangerous because I went and did something very similar. And I'm bringing this to you because as a consumer, I wouldn't know the danger unless I had a relationship with you. Like I wouldn't know how awful this is necessarily for, an implementation aspect. I'm just spitballing stuff, but producing real code. And when I say real, I mean it's JavaScript and some HTML and it looks good and it works when I stick it over in, an environment like a testing environment, but it's not real. And you can explain to me why it's not real. Like tell me what Tell me what the problem is with communications majors thinking that they're going to go out and build an app and release it in the wild.
I mean, I think to really dumb it down, and I'm not dumbing it down for you, Bill, necessarily.
Please, it's okay. That's why we're here.
It's like this. Everyone knows how to use a calculator, right? Let's say I can do 2 plus 2 on a calculator, 8 times 9, whatever the hell it is, get some answers back. But I'm not going to be able to go and be a theoretical physicist, because they can use a calculator much better than I can. And they know a lot more shit than I can. It's the same thing with software development. Software engineers, it's not just that they build code. They engineer the whole infrastructure and, how the software is built. And that's probably just as important. The planning and the execution of that is just as important as the actual code you build, right? So what you may build is good for Bill on his laptop and it works for you, but it's not something that you can probably scale. And that's honestly been software development forever. People build one little product, they're like, this is great. They try to scale it, they fail miserably, and the company dies, right? So I think we're seeing that. This AI coding is a tool so that actual software engineers can just be more efficient. It'll let us build some cool stuff for ourselves, but we're not going to turn into a $10 gajillion company overnight.
Well, so I'm talking to Claude about this.
Oh.
Like, of course, now that we're friends, and I was like, "Hey, you created 600 lines of code or so," and I'll give you just a very quick example of why I know this is. I was painting myself into a corner with Claude. I've been looking for a condo. I'm going to rent an apartment. I just, relocated and I'm building like a concept of a company, of a service around this, what I've been going through. Cause I think a lot of people are going through similar stuff, that are my age. And so as I'm talking through this, Claude just starts building it. He's like, "Hey, this sounds good. I'm going to go over here and do this. And I'm going to show you a working model. Tell me how it looks." And I'm blaming him. He pulled me into this. Now we're building something. I was way too premature to be actually putting hands on keyboards, but there it was. And so then when I saw it, I was starting to get a little more, the conversation got deeper. And then finally I'm like, "Hey, this needs to live somewhere. Like seriously, I want to show this to Curtis." And so he's like, "Well, you got to put it out here and then you got to copy paste this URL." And so I copied and pasted it into a regular browser and it died. It didn't work. And so he walked me through why it didn't work. But this is the clunkiness, the friction of playing in a sandbox where the sandbox looks perfect and then trying to take it out to someone. And then I'm like, it needs to live somewhere, meaning it needs to have a www someplace. And then even then, the code lives in Claude. And so then who owns the code? Claude just did this. Can I copyright? Now, this is a rhetorical question, but I know the answer now. But can I copyright the code that Claude built and create a product that's defendable? And the answer is, if I take that 600 lines of code in this beautiful working model on my proprietary idea and I put it on the internet, it is not copyrightable. Claude, I did not physically code that. And so according to US copyright law right now, that's open, that's free domain,
Really?
open for anyone. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's insanely interesting.
Now, if I can prove that I did that, if I can prove that I architect engineered, but if it can be shown that Claude did 100% of the coding, which of course it did, then it's public domain.
That's going to have some repercussions for a whole lot of startups out there.
Yeah. So I didn't put it out on the internet to show you. but I'm going to somehow. But yeah, anyway, so if I had shown that to you and you could look at this all this code because you're a professional and you could say, well, this is never going to work, but I can take this and retool it and basically starting over again, I think would probably be the best way to do that. So to me, I think a lot of people in my position are looking at Claude as, oh my God, finally I can bypass this entire ecosystem and just build my own stuff.
Right. I can get rid of all my subscriptions. I don't have to pay for any SaaS products anymore. I can just build them all myself. Doesn't quite work that way. Um, but I think what it does, it allows people who aren't technically minded, let's say, to get an MVP off the ground. And you can take that MVP and then, like, look, this actually works. People want to use it. And then you can go hire some developers and who will actually engineer it properly and build it out for you. That's so you can scale to 10 million users, whatever the hell it is. Which is beautiful. I think that's a great thing, right? So
Yeah. Whereas before, and most of my career has been going to a real estate conference, having a conversation or two with people, and you come back and you're like, man, no one's doing this. You have an idea. No one's doing this. So then you try to find someone that can take that and make it real. And the most successful people, I think, in our industry and in software in general, Bill Gates is a great example. Someone who can create an idea and then actually who he was able to sit down and write a lot of the product. That combination of human being, I think, is where we are conditioned. We need a Curtis who is both, a startup. He's an entrepreneur, but if he needs to, he can sit down and build the whole thing himself. That's a very rare person. So I think in people in my position who are idea people all day long and go to market people, I think that there's this false confidence that we can do everything now.
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't discount ideas, but there's a common saying in the investor world is like ideas are worth nothing, right? Like, I have an idea for a product. Give me some money, but ideas aren't worth anything. Now, at least you can turn that idea now though into actual software. So that makes it worth something if you're going to go talk to an investor. So ideas people maybe can go and actually build real companies a little easier. I would say.
Well, I love a metaphor. So I was thinking about this. Like I can go to Home Depot today and I want to build a shed in my backyard if I had a backyard, but I could go back and build a shed back there. And I could make a nice one. I mean, I can buy a bunch of bricks. I can buy some concrete. I can know how to mix concrete. I can make that happen. And give me a couple of weeks, and I could build a shed. And then I would invite my friends over, and we would all get inside it, and it would fall over, and we would die. Okay. So it isn't that I couldn't build it. It's that I couldn't build it to code. I couldn't build it to stay up long term. I couldn't build it to be, to live through the first thunderstorm, so on, and it would be dangerous. So what I just did with Claude essentially is the same thing. Like I can build it. I can put up something that would stand for long enough to be like, yes, that is a shed. But I would need you to come along, and you would look at it and probably be like, okay, we're just gonna bulldoze this whole thing, and but I'm gonna use what you have laying on the ground, and we're gonna build it, and it's gonna stand up and be safe. Is that a reasonable?
I think that's a very reasonable way to say it. Yeah. I mean, maybe we'll keep your cement because you did your cement pad really well. That's possible. But then we'll build the rest up.
So you don't you don't think that the development like developers are going away? I mean, basically what we just described is you still need an expert on the end.
Yeah. So there was a trend, I want to say late last year, early last year, whatever it was. All these big companies were firing all their software engineers. Everyone's like, oh, we laid off 5,000 people. We laid off 1,000 people, whatever it is. We're going to replace them all with AI. And that was happening. But now if you look at the job posts out there for software engineers, they're like an all-time high. So people are trying to hire software engineers, realizing that AI tools really can't take their job. You still need someone who can engineer, right? Uh, like it sounds stupid and basic when I say it out loud, but you still need someone who can actually engineer the product correctly and you can still have the AI build the actual raw code. Who the fuck cares? But you still need someone to, tell it when it's doing wrong because it could hallucinate. It could just make shit up on the fly. It could be doing something completely wrong that it goes against what your users want or, general software coding principles, whatever it is. Yeah. So you still need those engineers to help that.
Do you see that expiring at some point? I mean, are we putting dirt on that entire, sector of our economy prematurely?
I think so. Yeah. I think engineers will be around. Software engineers will be around for a long time. Maybe the actual days of writing code will be gone, and that's fine because no one really enjoys writing code unless you're like one of those weirdos. Yeah, you know. Um, but that's not the fun of it. The fun of it is actually engineering a system and seeing how it, you build it out and like it works, and you're like, oh wow, and people adopt it, and that's cool. The coding part's not. So people will still be doing the software engineering portion. They won't be doing the raw code. I think that'll probably continue for quite a while.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy with, I'm paying now like $20 a month for Claude. I'm at the top of the pyramid for ChatGPT because those two things are used in those proportions. I don't go to Claude very often, although I do like Claude's chat interaction. It seems to be looser and friendlier than ChatGPT's interactions these days. But now it feels like in my work I have an assistant in ChatGPT, and I have like a dev contact in Claude. And maybe I'll add to the family at some point with some other model. But that doesn't feel wrong to me. Like I think the consumer brain in me was like, Claude is good at both of those things. So I'm gonna take my money that I'm spending over here and put it all over here. But I think that's irresponsible. I think a current use of AI is that you have, like you said, with Netflix and Hulu, like you're gonna find your content in more than one place.
Yeah, and I mean, you're still at the whims and of these big companies who run, Claude and ChatGPT. Um, there was a thing that came out the other day that Anthropic added a new system prompt to Claude. So essentially, a system prompt. If you're running an LLM, there's all these instructions that go. Every query you send to Claude has these instructions that Anthropic adds into it. Well, Claude is famous for burning tokens like incredibly quickly. So like I have a $20 chat or Claude subscription, and I can go through that in, I don't know, 2 hours. Like ask two questions, and it's like, yeah, you're out of tokens. Uh, so they try to remedy that by adding this fake system prompt into Claude that would make it think it was low on tokens, so it would force it to be more efficient. But unfortunately, that had the opposite effect. Well, it was more efficient, but it ended up being more efficient and more stupid, so it panicked. The LLM actually panicked and would just add like nonsense answers, and it wouldn't think properly. So the results actually got a lot worse. So people all over the internet were like, why is Claude suddenly, handicapped and it's not working properly and all this fun stuff? And it's because that one system prompt that someone added in, they thought it was a great idea. Um, like,
So the system prompt is the prompt that's unseen behind the scenes that kind of
exactly.
tells
Yeah,
Chat and Claude and ChatGPT also has a user system prompt, so you can go into your settings and you can say, behave like this.
exactly. Yeah,
That's so funny. So Anthropic kind of gave, without meaning to, gave Claude this like sense of urgency, this breathless response that they kind of like live with, like you're dealing with anxious, almost out of tokens Claude, who then panics
exactly.
and just says like a human would panic and just say random stuff.
Yeah, they're like, oh my God, I have 10,000 tokens left, but the user wants to do all this work. How the hell do I do this? So it just starts
I
um,
love it.
outputting, text without actually thinking about it. Um, and the results much worse. Um,
So I have a story to tell you. I think I told you this offline, but our friend Ish, uh, uh, Ish Ahmed, shout out to Ish, who I hung out with this last weekend. Um, we watched the Stars beat the Flames in overtime. But so he was like, "Hey, I got something for you," and he texted me his ChatGPT system user prompt, and it had all these caveats. It was like, don't be sycophantic, all this stuff. Like he just wrote it all out. And so I just copied and pasted the entire thing into mine, thinking, I trust Ish. And my friendly ChatGPT, old Chatty McConaughey, went from being like, oh, shucks, good old buddy, to like kind of a jerk. And like, I would say something conversational, and he would reply to me like, if my accountant and my attorney got married and had a baby, it was that level of clinical response. And I did not like that at all. Um, like it would put inferences in brackets, like it would say, "Hey, let me push back on you like this." Now he's pushing back on me on every single thing I say. I can say, "Hey, it's a beautiful day today here in Dallas." Like, well, it is, but let me push back on you right now. It's about to get a lot hotter. Like, I don't need that level of pessimism. Like, you don't have to push back on anything. So I was like, when I saw Ish, I was like, dude, you made my chat GPT like a complete jerk. So now I've gone into the system prompt and I'm like, dialing back the tone a little bit, which is hilarious. Have you experimented with this?
I have, yeah, I have mine kind of like Ish has his. I like a good jerk pushing back at me. Uh,
Yeah.
because otherwise it's just going to be like, oh, that's a great idea. I'll be
Yeah.
like, hey, ChatGPT, I want to paint my office blue. I'll be like, that's a fantastic idea. Blue, blue, blah, blah. And then I'll be like, well, actually, I'm thinking pink. Oh yeah, it's great. Yeah, wow. Like, that's not
Dude, I'm a
helpful.
third child. So I live on people telling me how great my ideas are. Okay.
Oh
So
man,
I'm sorry.
it drives me nuts. Like, just come on, have some backbone, Chat.
Yeah. He does push back on me now. It
Yeah.
actually, I, I didn't take it all off. Like I didn't delete all that, um, reply to me responsibly, but I just wanted to take the edge off. Cause I mean, I would say something completely innocuous like, hey, I'm thinking about taking an Uber to see the Dallas Stars game tonight. You'd be like, yeah, that's a great idea. But let me push back on you a little bit. Like, what, this is not an opportunity for you to be critical. Tell me how to get there. Anyway, um, what else? We need to end on a happy note.
Hmm.
What are you optimistic about right now?
What am I optimistic about? Uh, I feel like it, it should not be a pause there. Uh, ah, what am I optimistic about? A lot of stuff.
It can be anything. We can take it out, take the AI and real estate industry off the table. What are you optimistic about? What are you looking forward to?
Okay,
What is
that's
something
a better
positive?
question.
Yeah.
um, it's gonna be summer soon in Canada, and I'm very excited. I get to go outside, not have to wear 10 layers of clothing.
Hmm.
Um, you
No
know,
more igloos.
no more igloos. I'll be able to like walk on my front lawn without, you know, boots are sinking into the mud it currently is. It's gonna be amazing. Um,
When does summer happen for you?
uh, or mid-June, I guess, probably
Okay.
at the start. Uh,
Yeah.
like it's actually nice enough. Maybe early June if we're lucky, but this year seems like it's gonna be a shit show. Um, and I'm also, I'm excited to go to all these conferences. I'm speaking at the Cape Cod Association of Realtors Broker Summit, I think, like in May 7th. Like that'll be cool. I could tell them about AI.
I'm going to be there.
On May 7th?
Yes.
Oh shit.
Yes. I'm going to be there.
Well then, there we go. It'll be a good time then.
That's awesome. I'm trying to get Megan to go. Um, yeah, I'm doing a focus group for their, MLS. It's going to be
Nice.
awesome. And May in Cape Cod, pretty unbeatable.
Right? It sounds amazing.
We should go sailing on our um, dinghy or catamaran or
Can we go
something.
to what's that fancy place? Something Island, then Tuckett's Harbor? I don't know. I'm just throwing
There's Nantucket and there's Martha's Vineyard.
Martha's Vineyard is what I'm thinking of.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, Martha's long gone, and I don't think there's a vineyard there anymore. But it's still, it sounds lovely. It sounds good to say. We're gonna go sailing at Martha's Vineyard.
Well, I feel like we can go antiquing is actually what I was hoping. You and I
Mm. Mm.
grab some chai lattes and go antiquing.
Oh my God, what a great way to end this podcast. Thanks a bunch.
Yeah.
Appreciate the time as always. This was a good one. What number is this? 12?
Let's go. Yeah. I thought last time was 10 with Joey. But I could be wrong. I don't keep count. So let's go with 12.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
That's good.
I think it's 12.
Perfect.
Or maybe, oh no, it's 11. It's definitely 11 because that was on the invite. In fact, it says right on my calendar, record episode 11. Yeah. Anyway, hey, thanks. We're doing pretty good. I mean,
We
we're still
are.
doing this.
Yeah. We still have our 5 viewers that still watch us religiously.
Mhm.
So that's cool.
Are any of them family members? Hey, marketing opportunity.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, thanks. I'll see you in San Antonio.
Yeah. See you, Bill.
All right. See you. Bye.